Hey gang, Primal Punch here. I've been wanting to make a video for a while on how to make just a very simple war club for fun, gift, or even for profit. You know, you get good enough, you can sell these. They're super simple to make. You'll need a marking implement. You'll need either a jigsaw. I got this for $19.99 on sale at Home Depot, and it came with some blades, but I had to buy an extra blade to get, you know, one that went through 2-inch wood. You'll need a piece of wood. It can be a scrap 2x4. I've got this. I don't have any 2x4 scrap anymore. This was made from a 2x4. You'll need some sandpaper, a knife, a rasp. The more time you're willing to put in, the less tools you'll need. This is a sort of a keyhole saw or a compass saw, and this is for doing radius cuts, curves like that. After we draw our design, I'm going to go ahead and use the jigsaw for the sake of brevity. Also, to combat the grain that's in commercial lumber, you know, well, all wood, but commercial lumber is a flat section, so you have a grain here where the wood will actually be brittle. Like if you're carving it, you can get underneath and get these huge chunks come off rather than a nice smooth carve. So you oil the wood, and that closes the grain up just as it would with leather. It makes it much more durable and better to work with after we've done our initial work. Okay, you don't want to sand oiled wood. You'll have to let it soak in for a while, otherwise it just clogs up your sandpaper. Let me go grab a piece of sandpaper. Now, of course, you're going to need some goggles, okay? And now, beyond just making a war club, if you have a longer piece of wood, you can make a cane. You know, skip this curve, make it straight down. You have a really cool head. You know, you can do a lot of cool stuff. You can go with much thicker stock if you're using a keyhole saw, compass saw. You can do some really neat stuff. But we're going to stick with just a simple war club. So what you can do to help you out on getting a nice radius for the head is just get a soup can or something that's round, alright, and you can go ahead and just use that for the general idea of the head of your chosen striking implement. Okay? And then, you know, and just because you draw it doesn't mean that's the way it has to be. You can change it, you know, fiddle with it like that. I'm just going to go with this simple kind of traditional war club design here, because it's just kind of the easiest way. Now, I'm going to show you what I've got here. It's nothing fancy, alright? I just drew this very simple design. Hopefully this is showing up. Here, if I go like this. The camera I can't really see, but it's got to be showing up, right? So, you see what I've got there? You know, I guess it's nothing fancy, but we're going to go ahead and just cut that bad puppy out. Now, on these kind of radius here, you're going to want relief cuts. Now, what those are, I'll make some and show you, okay? I'll just go ahead and make some relief cuts. I also recommend wearing a proper dust mask. I'm going to use a bandana. I always have two on me no matter what. One to protect my bald spot, and one to protect my lungs. So relief cuts allow the wood to fall away as you're cutting a radius so the blade can turn freely. I'm having to go slow because this wood is almost too thick for this blade. So I'm making these relief cuts, and I'll show you what those might look like on any given project. Okay, so here's what your relief cuts might look like, alright? So as we are working this radius here, the wood will fall away. I'm going to start over here and come this way, and the wood will fall away as I reach those relief cuts. Now, I recommend using clamps so you have both hands free for whatever tool you might be using. Just at least one clamp, you know, and you move your piece as you need to. You know, if you're using this, then you'll definitely want to clamp. This will be a lot more work. Yeah, this is some tough wood right here. That compass saw does not want to mess with it. So you might want to get a better version of a keyhole saw than I have. So you see where our relief cut allowed it to fall away. Let me see, I'll get the wrist strap. You can see you don't want to force this along a radius that it doesn't want to follow, okay? So, see if we can get a Nope, I got to do this two-handed. My blade just popped loose on me. That'll happen when it butts against the wood on this thicker stuff. It's a real bear. You got to go super duper slow. Now, here's where you can save yourself some time later on, but make a small radius here, right here at the neck, alright, rather than just going right in. We're going to have a small radius, so I'm going to want to make maybe another relief cut here. I'm going to see how it goes, if it can take that curve without popping blade. Alright, well, I can make this cut before we move. Go ahead and cut. Move her out here a little bit. Clamp her back down. 2 clamps is ideal. I'm just using 1 because I'm also using my hand to help support it. So just make sure that you don't hit whatever you got underneath, you know. This is some good stiff wood, man. I might actually go ahead and put a little toothier blade in. This one's got a little heavier teeth. Make my saw work less. It's my recommendation also not to ever force your saw. Don't push it. You'll feel it's got a natural speed that it's going to want to move at. Oop. And to push it beyond that, to try and force it to go any faster, you can only end up harming your saw, really. Alright. I had to put too much of a curve on that, but it's okay. We're just having fun with this. This is to give you a general idea. Let's see. What if I did this instead here? Be a little more cutting, but less of that curve there. There we go. We're gonna do that. Getting close, gang. Be prepared for those pieces of wood to fall loose on you. Now, what I was talking about whittling and grain of wood, okay? You want to whittle, you want to be able to whittle that wood down like that, okay? To shape it, You know, bevel those edges, round everything down. But what you run into if you get into the grain of the wood is that you're trying to whittle, and next thing you know, a big old chunk comes off. Okay, so make sure that you figure out which way the wood grain's going, so that you can get that job done without messing up your piece. Now, I recommend using a rasp if you have one. I do not, so I cannot use one. It's on my list of things to get when I'm not flat broke and in debt. So again, I don't have one. Okay, sorry about that, guys. A little Boo Radley moment there. Neighbors have got my PTSD red zone like permanently. So now we've got these rough edges. We've got little spots where, you know, I had my little spots where I came up, and there's a little bit of a different angle. So I want to try and clean that up a little bit. Just kind of blast across it, because we're going to do more shaping with knife. We'll do more shaping with blade and sandpaper. I didn't bring my utility knife out, but you're going to go ahead and just work on these edges. All right. Now you can do these edges with your jigsaw if you're really careful. You want to clamp your piece in and everything, and I don't recommend it, but you can. It's just not as easy as you might want it to be. Not really how the jigsaw was meant to be used, but it's one way of getting that done without the concern of your knife blade just raking this giant piece of your work off. Otherwise it comes down to whittling. You see where the grain of the wood is, and just go easy. Make sure you got your knife nice and sharp, and just take your time. Alright, you're going to whittle it down until you've got it looking something like this. Is that showing up or what? Now, once you've done all your whittling, okay, that's when you break out the sandpaper to get any splinters loose, you know, and it's best to start, you know, with a rougher grit sandpaper and work your way to a finer grit. The rougher grit will have better cut, take more wood off, you know, with each swipe, or whatever you want to call it there. So that's basically it. I really don't have much more to share. The rest is just kind of cleaning it up and then oiling it. I hate doing it this way, but I'm trying to speed her up. Got a ton of work to do around here, and still haven't heard back from the air conditioning guy. The air conditioning guys ended up like coming back out and messing with that air conditioner that their first crew, they just screwed it up. I mean, the thing has died. It's not blowing cold, and now they're saying like they're going to come out and just keep fiddling with that thing. Bent the bent pan back, gonna what, Bondo the hole in it. I said, man, I paid for a new unit. Get out here and fix it, or replace it. I mean, so we're going to see if they come through. So you see, ideally you're doing this with a rasp and your knife and everything, but you just slowly work that down, clean it up, you know, and use your sandpaper to remove that look of factory lumber. This is some really solid wood here. Ideally, you know, you're able to get a hold of maybe some scrap hardwood. You know, you can try and contact local woodworkers and ask them if they have some scraps of like cherry or oak, and then you can make your war clubs out of that finer wood, you know. Now see, that was where a big chunk just popped loose, and that can really mess up your work. You take too much off. We're going to get this oiled. You know, you could oil it at this point, but then you'll have to wait for a while for that oil to kind of soak in before you can sand it effectively, because you try sanding freshly oiled wood and it just clogs your sandpaper up really fast, really fast. Remember, never whittle toward yourself. Alright, never ever whittle toward yourself. We're always whittling away because there's just air out there. You never whittle toward yourself. There you cut your face off or take a finger down to the bone, which I have done. Cut the back of my thumb whittling, and had to super glue it shut. It was gnarly. So I'm telling you not to whittle toward yourself, and I'm about to. Gotta be a good role model, Mr. Punch. So you get the idea here of what we're trying to do. And you're going to end up with, at the end of the day, after all your work, whatever your design has come out to, you're going to have a really cool war club. Boom. Effective too. I'm going to use this jigsaw a little more, try and speed this up for y'all. Probably at this point you're like, enough already. I really hope you guys don't do it this way. also don't saw toward yourself like I just was. Sort of get the general idea here. It's nothing fancy, or it's as fancy as you can make it. That's what I should say. Okay, narrowed it up, shaped it up a bit. I'm cheating by using the saw there. You'll be safer than I am, of course, because you'll heed my warnings and you'll do as I say, not as I do. Now this, when I'm doing this toward myself, all right, I don't want you to ever do this. This is like a really low energy. I'm not pulling too hard, so that if it hits a hard spot and then pops through, it's not going to travel very far. And again, that's just because of the grain of the wood here. If I go that way, I'm going to shed huge pieces, which is what I don't want to do. Now over here, we should be able to go this way. Just feel your way along, go slow, and see how the wood wants to be cut and whittled and treated. See? I was trying to get underneath the grain there, so I got to come back and fix that. So we don't have that splintery spot popping up. Gotta have eye protection when you're working with wood. You may think it's a pain in the butt, but it's a lot better than having your eye put out by some flying debris or something, alright? You only get 2 eyes in this life, so protect them. you know, even within like the limited grain structure of commercial lumber, you still get some very beautiful variances and everything. You get some pretty stuff going on. Going the wrong way on this side, they're going to split it up and get a big old nasty spot. And again, the sandpaper is going to be where you're going to do your major cleanup work. I would love to have a rasp, because with a rasp you can really just chew that wood away and get that work done fast and good. It's all about having those proper tools, you know. But this is a way that you can do this with limited tools. You can make yourself a nice self-defense item. You know, and again, if you're willing to put the time into it, you can make something that you can actually sell. And I just want to clean this up a little bit. I'm not going to worry about making this perfect, gang. Just wanted to give you a little idea of the kind of stuff that you can do. Tell you what, it's getting warm out, and with that cooler not working right, it's downright miserable in this little tiny house. Had to buy a little air conditioner because dogs can't handle that prolonged heat as well as humans. What this swamp cooler is basically doing, it's not cooling, it's blowing fairly cool. It's making the place really humid. I know, there's people that got way less and everything. I paid for a new unit. Really want that to happen. Instead of just busting up POS up there. This kind of stuff to talk about when you're messing around with wood, I guess. I don't know, I don't have friends, so I don't know what people do. I mean, you guys are my friends, but I don't hang out with anyone here in real life. I mean, it's got to be me, right? That's the reason that I don't have friends. But it's okay, because I've got you guys, and got my wife and the dogs. Cool stuff to do. Well, you can see I kind of messed up right here when I was messing around with that jigsaw. Kind of got a little crazy there. Trying to hurry up for you guys. Have people complain about my long videos. Guess you can always fast forward. Alright. So it's going to take a lot of whittling for me to really clean that up. So we're just going to go ahead and hit this with some sandpaper real quick. When you're sanding, I really want you to be careful of any spots that look like this. Come on over, guys. Gang, you see this? Wait, turn back over. Right there. Your sandpaper can get hung up under that, or that splinter can actually come through the sandpaper and pierce your hand, okay? So we want to clean that up before we come across it with that sandpaper. We're going to get that taken care of. Feel along for anything that is splinterish or, you know, can possibly do you harm. Always be safe. There, I think we're looking good. Yeah, that's looking better. Every once in a while I like to do that. Cleans the paper out so you get good cut. Cut is what they call the work that a sandpaper does, or the amount of material it takes. Now again, I'm just doing this rough and crude to give you guys the idea. It's up to you to do your fine tuning, and if you want to stain it, you know, you can do an awful lot of cool stuff here. The biggest part that you want to focus on getting just as smooth as you can is the grip, of course, alright? Where it's going to be held. I'm just leaving that because it looks kind of cool, and if you had to bust a window or something or whatever. There goes my sandpaper. Part of it anyway. Now, for shaping this, I'm probably going to end up using the concrete. Man, the cops been down this road so many times last few days. They were next door a couple days ago. Moved away from the city to get away from that malarkey. So I'll probably use the concrete. I don't know, it's probably going to be one of those things where it shows up all dark, but you find yourself a rough bit of concrete and you can do some pretty good good sanding for shaping things up. Yeah, you see how fast that's coming along? Mind the knuckles. You don't want to take your knuckles across that. Now I hear people say you only sand one direction and everything like that. And I guess in finer woodwork that's true, but I don't really worry about it too much because I'm not doing anything that's that fine. I'm making a functional tool. But if you decide that you want to do this and try to sell them or give them as gifts, you might want to do it up a little bit nicer than I do. Alright. Now, just get yourself your rag, and I use mineral oil. If you try to use vegetable oil or stuff like that, what you'll get, it will actually go rancid. I tried vegetable oil on a walking stick one time, and the darn thing, next thing I know, I got a trail of ants coming into onto the apartment balcony. It was awful, and it stunk. So I use mineral oil now. Lots of folks have issues with mineral oil because it's a petroleum product. I myself do not. It works great for sticks, wood and leather, lots of stuff like that. I actually had a fellow make fun of one of my videos because I say he said I'm like that dude from Sling Blade. He just posted on the video there. Internet keyboard warrior, right? Oh, look at that, huh? Look at that. Just instantly looking cooler, right? And this will serve to close that grain up, so you can do a finer whittling if you decide you need to. You know, wherever you're going with your personal tool, then that's what you want to work toward. But you will want to allow it to kind of soak in, all right? Because it's going to be really thirsty at first. This commercial lumber is really dry. But this is going to just make it way more durable, look way nicer, and tougher, just all around tougher. And that's something to strive toward, no matter what it is. You know, unless it's a steak, you don't want to do things to make that tougher. Unless your jaws need a workout. Mine obviously don't, because I talk at you guys like crazy whenever I do videos. So my jaw is getting all kinds of a workout there. There you go. So what you end up with is a really cool tool. See that? And now you'll want to let that oil soak in a little bit. This is good for, you know, if you want to work on a tire, you know, use a tire as your pel, then you can practice using this for self-defense. You know, these are long enough that you can actually do some of the Bauderet movements with it. You know, depending on what you do. I made a nice little shorty that this is good for, you know, whatever size hallway you might have. It's easy to use this in close quarters, tight quarters. But I wanted to make something a little bigger for you guys to be able to see. So, there it is. Just a really simple piece of work. Now, we had issues with this compass saw. Look, it ginked. It wasn't really getting any kind of decent cut. So, I guess I can't recommend the Stanley compass saw, but a thinner, like a narrower blade for like a finishing saw or something might work. And I guess you could even use a regular hand saw. If you made enough relief cuts, then you could do the rough out on it, right? And then do the rest of the work with a rasp, your knife, like that. You know, again, it's depending on how much work we're willing to put into it. That's what we're going to get back out of it. And I'll mess around with this some more, fine it up. I'm going to let the oil soak in, and like that. So thank you very much for coming by and hanging out with me, you guys. I just wanted to do that. You know, it might not have occurred to you that you can make yourself a nice self-defense tool this way. And again, if you make them nice enough, you can sell them. People will buy these on Craigslist or your yard sale, local swap meet. It's a cool way to make a little bit of cash. Do I sound like that Sling Blade guy? It's kind of messed up. Got me all questioning myself now. Got a little pokey spot there. Got it fixed up. Yeah, so I made this one just to see how fast I could get it done before I wanted to do the video. And that was a little while back. So you can see it looks really neat. I'm going to have to take some pictures and stuff and I'll post them at the end. But you can see that. Let me go ahead and wipe my hands, guys, before I do anything else. I'm going to get my camera all oily. 11 years and counting with this camera. But there you go, gang. That's what you're looking at there. You can get some really neat stuff. I think it looks kind of cool, rustic like that, with some of the cut and whittle marks and everything. But you see, you get some really neat grain effects there in the wood. And you allow the oil to soak in, oil it again, and that wood just gets tougher and tougher. So